I had a phone call from Blue Blood. Right over there. All right, my man, Blue. I had a phone call from Blue Blood. You know Blue Blood Sports, right? Right over there. All right, my man, Blue. Blue called me up and said, Mosey. I said, what's up, Blue? He said, no, I got a good deal for you. I said, what's the deal? I can make that fight happen with Terence and Boots. I said, let's make that happen, man. That's the fight we want. Like that, right? So he said, would you do me a favor? I said, what? Would you talk to Zab and the head of Blue, BLK? Yeah, the head of Blue. I said, yeah, I get on the phone with him. All three of them was on the phone talking to me. So when I talked to the boss, BLK boss, whatever he is, and he says, yeah, well, we want you to have that fight, man. We can make the fight happen and all that stuff. But all along, what he really wanted is wanted us to come over to their organization. I was reading between lines. He said, yeah, if you come over here, you do this. I said, no. I'm not going to come over there. I'm with Showtime. And that's who I'm loyal to because the way they treat us. They treat us good. And there's a lot of things I can't say to y'all. But there's a lot of things that I don't have to do that other people do with Showtime. Yeah. You know what I mean? So why would I leave there and go over there? You know what I mean? So I said, no, what y'all do, talk to Espinoza and set the fight up, and then we can go from there. You know what I mean? Because we need that fight real bad. We want that fight real bad. So they said, okay, we'll do that. I talked to Espinoza. He said they called him. He talked to him and everything. And when he talked to him, he said, they really wasn't really talking about our fight. He said, man, listen, whenever y'all ready to make the fight happen, we can make the fight happen like that. And that's all Espinoza told me. He said, man, they supposed to call me back and set everything up. They never called him back. So, yeah, go ahead.
One thing that Crawford did bring up is that essentially he said that you've abandoned the pursuit of the WBO title and decided to go the IBF route, and he's taking it kind of as like a swerve. But it sounded to me like Crawford, out of the guys, is the guy that you really, really want. Can you confirm that?
I wanted both of them, him and Spence. So listen to this. When Crawford said that, right?
Yeah.
He probably don't even know. They probably didn't even involve him in the conversation at all. And like I told Crawford, if y'all see the interview with me and Crawford, me and him was talking, because Gilly was saying, yo, Bo, I said, what's up? Because he had FaceTime me first, and I know it was him. So then he texted me, he said, Bo, this is Gilly. So I hit him back. He said, Crawford's in it. So, I quickly hit him back when Crawford did. So that's, Crawford, that's my man. I like Crawford. So we talking, he said, man, I heard y'all turned it down. Now, Gilly know the truth, all of them, but, that's what he got to say. Like you just got to say what you have to say. So I said, man, that's a lie. And I explained to him the same thing I explained to y'all just now. And I said, Crawford, and you know the truth, man. Boo's been trying to fight you since 2018. You win Spence. We want to see where we coming from, because y'all two are the best.
So why do you think Crawford would kind of say that anyways?
Well, that's what some fighters do, man. They want to make everybody think they are more than what they really is when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? And like I told Crawford, I said, Crawford, we've been wanting to fight you, and you know it. He said, that's when he said about taking that other route. Why would we take that route? The WBO, when we was already the IBF mandatory. So we weren't even looking at that. When we was number 2 or number 3 in WBO, right? And now dig this, we was number 2. I said, now, since you running your mouth, that's what I told him. I said, why did you take anesthesia, not anesthesia, before us? We was number 2. You know what I mean? You could have gotten 240. Oh, you see him set up. I said that.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew, welcome to another episode of Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty, which you just heard if you're just tuning in live. Those were the words of Bozy Ennis, the father and trainer of Boots, Jerron Boots Ennis, and a recent interview that he did with Fight Hub TV just a few hours ago that they published. And Y'all heard what Bozy said regarding Terence Bud Crawford and the conversation that he had with Crawford when Gilly from $1 Million Worth of Game podcast FaceTime Bozy and the words that he told Crawford. He also mentioned before that how the deal materialized in the first place between himself, BLK Prime, and of course, the deal materialized just through conversation only. But you heard Bozy, right? And we're going to touch on a little bit of this later on this evening because Bozy said himself, if you're just tuning in live and live in color and on the replay of this live, Bozy said that apparently BLK Prime never wanted the fight to happen between Bozy and Boots. They just wanted Boots to come to their platform, BLK Prime, and fight. Now, of course, they probably would have talked to Crawford after the fact to see if they can get him to fight Boots on their platform. But their main objective was to get Boots to come over to compete on their platform. And they just dangled Crawford's name around as a ploy, and it did not work. It actually backfired on them. They did not even call Steven Espinosa back after Bozy set it up. So I just wanted to clarify a little bit of that. We're going to touch more on that this evening. We have a great show tonight. We are going to talk the business of boxing. We're going to talk the sport of boxing. And I'm glad to have all of you with us right now. I welcome all of you. As I always mention, every time we do a live broadcast, I am so excited to be with you all tonight. We're going to have a great show this evening. I welcome each and every last one of you. I'm tongue-tied tonight. I welcome each and every last one of you. Salute to everybody in the chat. I welcome all of you viewers watching all around the world. We are going to have a great evening of the sport of boxing here on the podcast. But don't forget, Adrian Broner returns tonight. Pretty soon, to be exact. That card starts relatively soon. He's going to headline the main event on a Don King Productions card. Tonight, of course, we know that Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor will fight tomorrow evening. We will discuss some of the particulars of that fight, the weigh-in, the press conference. We're going to talk about all of that. Bill Haney was there too. Bill Haney was there. We're going to talk a little bit about the reason why he said he was there in an interview that he did. I believe it was also on Fight Hub TV. Got some good boxing to talk about tonight. And of course, in our main event here tonight, our entree, we are going to talk about a continuation of what we were talking about last broadcast, which was on Tuesday night. What will Crawford have to do to win? People believe that Crawford will knock Spence out because he has a 100% knockout ratio in the welterweight division. We're going to talk about the game plan that Errol Spence Jr. and his trainer, Derek James, what game plan are they going to put together to neutralize the skill set of Terence Crawford? And speaking of Terence Crawford, as we're going to do for the next several different live broadcasts moving forward, we have our segment that is dedicated and designated for Terence Bud Crawford fans. And that segment is called nip it in the bud. Hence the word bud. Yes, pun intended. And that's the segment where 2 or 3 lucky contestants who qualify as Terence Crawford fans will join us live, unscripted, on the panel to answer some questions, because we need answers, and for them to express their concerns. They may even have questions for me. They may even have some comments that they want to share. And I am going to donate. That's right, I said the word donate. I am going to donate a piece of my platform specifically for them. Now, Tuesday night, we were expecting more engagement from them. Couldn't find them. But we only found just a few and somewhere in the chat. But we want you here, live and living color, on the Roller Tape Podcast with Manager Marty. But before we do all of that and get into any of the things that I just mentioned that we're going to discuss tonight, y'all know what we have to do first, as the viewership is increasing exponentially. I welcome you. If you're just joining us live, we are about to check in. That's right, I'm talking about our Town Watch check-in. If you don't know what that is, you will learn quickly exactly what our Town Watch check-in is and the reason why we do Town Watch check-ins. Let me tell you what it is first, and I'll explain to you what we do and why we do it here on this podcast. Particularly in the beginning of every broadcast and the preliminary stages, we do what's called a Town Watch check-in. And the Town Watch check-in is extremely simple. This is where you all that are viewing this live, and even the replay of this live in the comments section, but particularly those that are viewing live right now in real time, can engage in the chat and check in. And this is where you can participate in the chat by basically acknowledging in the chat where you are from, or so that's or where you are located now. City, state, island, and or country. And what I will do in exchange, I will then publicly acknowledge your check-in so that everyone around the world can understand the purpose. And that purpose for us doing the Town Watch check-in on this platform is so that we all can understand that this platform is all-inclusive. And yes, we are from all parts of life. We're from all parts of the world, geographically speaking. We are all from different environments. We have different philosophies. We have different perspectives when it comes to the sport of boxing. But the great thing about it, in our Town Watch check-in, we will see and discover that we all have one thing in common. This is what makes it inclusive. No matter if we agree or disagree on perspectives on this broadcast, and furthermore, we have one thing in common, and that is our love for the sport of boxing. So I'm going to start it off first, and then I am going to evaluate the chat. And the moment that I see your geographical location, I'm going to shout you out because it's time for us to check in. Please, I encourage you to participate in the chat, all inclusive now. And we're going to go right into our segment immediately following our Town Watch check-in. You ready? Okay, enough said. Y'all know I represent the DFW area, Texas in the house, by way of Arlington, Mansfield section to be exact, by way of my hometown of the city of Philadelphia. And I'm not talking about the city of Philadelphia that's in the state of Mississippi. I'm talking about the city of Philadelphia that's in the state of Pennsylvania. And we call it Philly. So Philly is in the building. Now, who else we got in here? Detroit, Michigan in the building. Benton Harbor, Michigan in the building. Who else we got in here tonight? Come on, let's check on in. This is the bread and water segment of our show. You know, I always set the live broadcast up like we in a restaurant. You know how you go to a restaurant, you sit down, you get your bread and water, right? Then you get your appetizer. Then you get the 4 entree, and then you get the dessert. And so this is our bread and water segment. So I need participation. This is going to set the tone moving forward tonight. So I said we got Detroit, Michigan in the building. Benton Harbor, Michigan in the building. Wichita, Kansas City is here. Who else we got in here? Baltimore, Maryland on the East Coast is with us. Woo! Colorado in the building. Texas is here tonight with us. Who else we got in the house? Bridgeport, Connecticut is in the house. Dayton, Ohio is also in the house. Come on, y'all. Even if they on vacation in Florida right now, Philly is in the house. Who else we got in here? Dallas, Texas is in the house. Tennessee is in the building tonight. Alabama in the house tonight. San Diego, California, representing the West Coast, is here tonight. Y'all already know how I feel about BK. Y'all know my folks is in BK. So I got to represent. Is Brooklyn in the house? Without a doubt. BK in the building. Long Island, New York, strong up in here tonight. DC in the building. Who else we got in here? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, also in the house. Who else we got in here? Woo! Honduras is here tonight. Man, we got people from all over the world here. Chester, Pennsylvania is also here tonight. Big D, I just represented it, but I know somebody in the chat. My guy, Aaron H. Muhammad, is with us tonight from Dallas, Texas. He's here. Woo! Salute to my homegirl. Diana is in the building. We got Mr. Pragmatic, my guy from Hotlanta, is here with us tonight. Listen, I already said San Diego, California, but it's another city that's in California. I'm talking about LA, Los Angeles, the city of angels is here tonight. St. Louis in the house. So we already representing the East Coast, Midwest, the West, down South, all over the world. We are here live in living color. Who else we got in here tonight? Come on and check on in. I know there's more people. This is how I know it's more people. Because the numbers is slowly increasing exponentially. I just want to see if y'all paying attention. That's why I use the word slowly and exponentially in the same sentence. We're going to get it tonight. West Baltimore is in the house tonight. Who else we got in here? Come on, let's check on in. DC in the house. Let's go. Let's go. Who else we got in here? Somebody called me Detective Marty. Yes, indeed. Come on now. Let's go. Let's go. Who else we got in here tonight? Yes, indeed. I'm just so excited tonight. I'm so excited. I love talking about the business of boxing. I love talking about the sport of boxing. Nay, from the Triple D is in the building. Salute. And I see a lot of, let me tell you something. I see a lot of my demographic, right? H-Town. Woo! H-Town is in the house. I know what you meant, Shabbat, when you said Detective Marty. I know it wasn't in a bad way. That's why I took it in a good way. I got you. I see a lot of women that are starting to become viewers of this channel. And I know that by evaluating my analytics in my back office here on YouTube. And I want to say this because there's multiple women in the chat right now. Y'all know I gotta salute the women. Y'all already know that. Okay. Y'all already know I'm one of the most smoothest YouTube content creators on YouTube when it comes to boxing. Y'all already know how I do. You know I'm smooth. You know that. So I have to always acknowledge the ladies when I see them in the chat. Salute to all the ladies that are in the chat. I really appreciate your viewership. I appreciate your support to the channel. I appreciate your contribution to the sport of boxing. You do not go unnoticed when you're in my chat. So I want to say to all the women, all the beautiful ladies and queens that are representing this podcast, I want to say welcome and I salute you. Absolutely. Who else we got in here? You know the Town Watch check-in isn't over because I know there's one more. DeSoto, Texas is in the building. I know there's one more. I already know that there's one more. I know that there's one more. Philly in the building. West Oak Lane to be exact. What up, Blizz? Let's go. Let's go. Who else we got in here tonight? I know there's one more. I know it. I feel it all in my bones that there's one more that want to represent where they're from or where they're located. One more, and then we're going to move on with the segment of the show. One more. Then I'm going to get them super chats that just popped up as well. Absolutely. Who else we got? That's it? Oh, I knew it. What I tell y'all? Didn't I tell y'all it was one more? North Carolina is in the building. And listen, if you're just joining us live, right? We're doing our Town Watch check-in. We're going to slowly move on. But even if you're late, if you want to drop your location, where you from, or where you want to represent, and that is by way of city, state, island, and or country. If I see it in the chat, I still will acknowledge you even if we move forward. Okay? Fair enough? My man, I got to make sure my energy is right. Because what happens with energy is it transfers. And so I got to make sure my energy is right when I come onto this broadcast. I had a very productive and long day today, but guess what? It is a privilege to be able to spit knowledge to the people. It is a privilege to even have a podcast. Life is a privilege in itself. You know, every podcast episode, I want to make sure I provide at least one spiritual principle, right? And sometimes I haven't been doing it on purpose, but I'm going to start intentionally doing it, right? So that you can leave the broadcast with something to think about outside of boxing, because we're here to help each other. Iron sharpens iron. We got Oak Cliff, Texas in the house with us tonight. All right. So that is the spiritual principle of the weekend. Y'all can go ahead and take that with you. If you remember later on, you can always come back, hear the replay of the broadcast, and get your principle of the weekend. All right. And that is just understand and remember one thing, that life is a privilege. Tomorrow is not promised to any of us. Life in itself is a privilege. All right. So count your blessings. You might not be where you want to be in life, and you might be where you want to be in life, but count your blessings because life is a privilege. All right, y'all got that? I might roll the tape back on that later on this evening for our new viewers that are going to slowly come on in the latter portion of this broadcast. But I love educating. I love encouraging other people. And I love when my energy is up because I know it transfers. All right. So with that being said, let me go ahead and get these super chats that I see now, because I know that there's going to be more people that are going to contribute to this channel tonight, either through super chat, super sticker, super thanks, and or even Cash App. And so I want to thank everybody in advance. Thank you so very much in advance for all of your financial contributions and support to this channel. All right. And then, of course, when you do so in live time, I'm going to also acknowledge you all personally again. And speaking of personally acknowledging again my homegirl, member of the channel, day one supporter, my sister Diana. Always a pleasure. Thank you for your contribution and your support, Diana. Thank you so much for your super sticker. Jay Cooley, another supporter of the channel. Thank you for your support and contribution, Jay Cooley. As always, Jay Cooley says, born in Arkansas, but living in Omaha. So we salute you, Jay Cooley. And of course, y'all know I stop my segment of any show that I do when I see family in the chat. And this guy right here that you see on your screen, my guy, my friend, Mr. Pragmatic is here, day one supporter of the channel. Thank you for your support and your contribution. As always, Mr. Pragmatic, thank you very, very much. Always a pleasure when I see my boxing family in the chat. Absolutely. Oh, and I want to say this too, because we've had a rough week, haven't we? Particularly here on the East Coast. I'm not sure if it hit down south, but I know on the East Coast, they say it was a Canadian wildfire. They said it came through Canada and then it touched New Jersey and then New Jersey, then New York, which had it really, really bad too. And then, of course, Philadelphia. So our air quality was very, very bad here on the East Coast. I don't know if it traveled farther, but I know here on the East Coast, it was just real, real bad. And that's why I'm talking about life band and privilege, right? You know, yeah, so I'm glad that everything looked like it's perfectly fine. Today was actually a good day outside. The air quality was on 100. It was real, real good. Today, it was a beautiful day today here on the East Coast. And I'm so glad to be able to spend my time with all of you tonight. And the viewership is increasing exponentially. And I welcome each and every last one of you that are viewing, regardless of your reason. I welcome you tonight. Let's move on. Let me say this real quick because most people probably didn't even know this. Adrian Broner is about to fight in like probably an hour or so, or 2 hours or something. I don't even know if we're still going to be on this live broadcast, but if we are, I will provide the results of the fight that he is going to have with, I believe the gentleman's name is Billy Hutcherson. I believe that's the gentleman's name that he is going to compete against tonight. The live broadcast is on Fight, Fite. That's the, a platform that's broadcasting, and of course it's not free. You would have to pay for it. Don't know how much it costs. But Adrian Broner's fighting tonight. I would love to know you all's take on that. I mean, Adrian Broner's fighting tonight, but he's not just fighting tonight. He's fighting on Fight, a platform that most people may not have heard of. They've put on some great events, production wise. So they're on like the lower tier when you talk about programming and streaming boxing matches, and they do a fairly relatively good job. And it's under Don King Productions. When's the last time you saw a fighter fight on a Friday night and it wasn't on ESPN? You know, ESPN used to have Friday night fights. Y'all remember those episodes of Friday night fights for up and coming prospects, right? Y'all remember those? Some of you that have been watching boxing for a long time may recall those live broadcasts on ESPN. But Adrian Broner is fighting on a Friday night on a relatively unknown to some, not to all, but to some boxing fans, relatively unknown platform, the app. What do you think about that? In the chat, let's engage real quick. Moving on with our segment. What do y'all think about Adrian Broner? His return, he's back with Don King Productions. I mean, Adrian Broner he, he's trying to make a comeback. He is trying to revitalize his career. Um, the last time we saw Adrian Broner before all of this is when he said that, along with Terence Crawford, he said that basically BLK Prime was taking over boxing. Remember when Terence Crawford said, that BLK Prime is the new wave, and both of them were in conjunction with their assessment of how BLK Prime was going to take over. And now we see, Adrian Broner, with Don King. Some people say that might be a disaster waiting to happen. But the great thing about it is at least he is competing, because Adrian Broner had 3 different opponents. If you all recall, he had 3 different opponents that he was scheduled to fight in a matter of probably 1 month. In a matter of 30 days, he had 3 different opponents. It first started out with Ivan Redkach, and then that didn't work. That fight didn't materialize. We already know the reasons why, most of us. And then, about a week or 2 later, we hear Hank Lundy was going to get the opportunity to fight Adrian Broner. Then that didn't materialize, and we already know why. And then, right after that, Michael Williams Jr. was going to be the 3rd opponent for Adrian Broner. And of course, that fight also did not materialize, and we know why. And now here is Adrian Broner again after leaving BLK Prime. Now he's with Don King, but at least he is fighting. If you're just tuning in live to this broadcast, Adrian Broner will be fighting tonight. And I think he'll be fighting probably within the next 2 hours or so, because I believe him and Billy Hutcherson, they are the main event, obviously. So in the chat, I see some of the things that you all are saying. Some of you are saying that you wish him the best. Excuse me. Some of you are saying that Don King is a disaster. Indeed. I also recognize that some of you are saying that Don King is a legend. What's in it for Don King is the question, and what's in it for Adrian Broner? Salute to my guy, Aaron H. Muhammad. Thank you for your support and your contribution to the channel. He's another one of my day oneers supporting this channel. Thanks so much, Aaron Muhammad. And Aaron says, salute, Manager Marty. I would love to see a mature and focused AB who can display at some of his talent and get the best out of himself as he moves forward. Yes, indeed. I would love to see a mature, focused AB as well. Thank you so much for your contribution and support, Aaron. And, Adrian Broner at the press conference, I believe it was a press conference that was done last night, if I'm not mistaken. Adrian Broner said that he is on a quest to become a world champion again. So we shall see if that happens. But we wish Adrian Broner the best on this channel. I don't particularly agree with some of the antics and some of the language that Broner chooses to display and even say out of his mouth and even do with his actions, because it always comes back to somehow bite him in the behind with many consequences. But we will have to see his productivity in the ring. We know that Adrian Broner do not throw a lot of volume of punches when he's competing. And that also comes back to bite him as well. But we shall see. We wish him nothing but the best here. But he's going against a gentleman who, to my understanding, is an attorney. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know if he represents family law, criminal law. I don't know, but I know he is an attorney because at the press conference, people have made a lot of references to Billy Hutchinson being an attorney, including Adrian Broner. And so hopefully this fight is competitive so that Adrian Broner, if he does win, he can come out victorious and he can continue his quest to be a world champion again. Teofimo Lopez is also fighting tomorrow night. He's fighting Josh Taylor. It's interesting to me, if you don't know, there was a weigh-in that took place today, and Teofimo Lopez had to have the sheet, the cover, put up for him as he was stripping all the way down to get on the scale. If you don't know what that represents a fighter who basically tried to make weight with proper underwear on. And of course, they didn't make that fighter usually don't make weight. So they have to reweigh. And one of the ways that the executives and the commission and the supervisors would facilitate the reweigh-ins is they will allow the fighter to strip bare naked so that those extra ounces and those extra pounds will not affect the weigh-in, which it didn't. And Teofimo Lopez weighed in exactly at the 140-pound mark. So we do have a fight, ladies and gentlemen, between Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez in the 140-pound division tomorrow night on ESPN. Now, I have a question, because I see Diane in the chat. She said that weigh-in was strange, and I have to agree. The press conference was also strange. I'd have to agree with that as well. In the chat, if you watch replay of this live, I have a quick question. Mr. Prag already beat me to it. Who do you all have winning in this fight between Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor in the 140-pound division? Let's talk about it real quick. Who y'all got winning tomorrow night? We've seen Teofimo's last fight. We've seen that. Who do y'all have winning? All right, somebody said Taylor. Someone else says they got Teo. Who y'all got winning that fight tomorrow night? Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez. I see the viewership increasing exponentially, so I welcome the new audience that's just joining us live and live in color on the Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. We are discussing the outcome or the possible outcome of the fight tomorrow night between Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez. Both of these guys were talking major trash to one another. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Highly disrespectful, to say the least. But all the talking stops. And as Larry Holmes would be famously noted by saying, all the nonsense goes out the window when the bell rings. And of course, he did not use the word nonsense. He used the words that start with the letter B and the letter S. But all of the nonsense goes out the window when the bell rings tomorrow night. So we have a mixed crowd tonight. Some are saying Josh Taylor is going to win. Some of you are saying that Teofimo Lopez is going to win tomorrow night. Now, if this is the case, how the person you chose in the chat, if you chose Taylor, this is for him, this question. And if you chose Teo, this question is for him. How is the winner going to win? If you chose Taylor, this is for you. If you chose Teo, it's for you too. How? How are these two guys going to win tomorrow night? Don't forget, while you're in the chat, I want to remind you of something so that when we move on, we can get it popping. And you can already get started with joining the live broadcast. Okay? And I'm talking about the segment called Nip It in the Bud. If you are a Terence Crawford fan, get ready because I am about to fly the kite in the chat. And when I say fly the kite in the chat, y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm going to drop that link and pin it to the top so that you can join us. 2 or 3 lucky contestants. Come on and join the live broadcast. Not now, when I drop the link, when I fly the kite in the chat. Come on up because that segment will be for you. But until then, we're talking about the winner of Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor. That's what we're talking about right now. If you're just joining the live broadcast, that's what we're talking about right now. I'm excited to see you all tonight, by the way. Some people think in the chat that Taylor's going to outbox him. Some people saying that, Taylor's going to win by unanimous decision. This is going to be an interesting fight, because the thing about it is this. We have to make sure that Teofimo Lopez produces tomorrow night. He has to produce. Teofimo Lopez is going to have to produce in this fight. We saw him fight in December, right? And when he fought in December, he fought against the guy Martin and didn't really look that impressive. So we got to know what he's going to do. We got to know. He has to recover if he wants to continue to maintain his position in the 140-pound division. Teofimo Lopez is going to have to produce. And to my evaluations, he is going to have to do better than he did in his last fight in December. About what was that? 5, 6, 7 months ago. He's going to have to produce. Because he got knocked down and dropped by the guy Martin. I think that's his name. So he's going to have to come in and show Josh Taylor from the opening bell that he's not going to lay down for Josh Taylor. He's already losing the height and reach battle against Josh Taylor. Okay? So if he thinks he's going to come in there and just bully Josh Taylor and Josh Taylor is going to just lay down for him, he has another thing coming. He's going to have to go in there, establish his jab, get on the inside, beat Josh to the punch with great footwork and movement. Because Josh Taylor, he's going to pepper him with those jabs because we know this is not a knock on T.O., but we got to keep it all the way 100 like we always do on the Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. Teofimo Lopez keeps his head on the line. He doesn't move his head as he is advancing aggressively. Taylor will hurt you and get you out of there. Taylor has heart. Josh Taylor has a lot of dog in him. And so T.O. is going to have to snatch that dog up out of him. And he's going to have to gain his respect, and he has to do it early. It's going to be a good fight while it lasts. It may be a decision at the end. I don't really see a knockout from either one of these guys, personally speaking. But this is the sport of boxing. Anything and everything can happen. So we shall see. I think, personally speaking, that Josh Taylor is the more technically sound boxer in this fight. And all he has to do is use boxing skill against Teofimo Lopez. Now, I do believe that he has dog in him. So getting into an exchange would not be out of the ordinary, but I wouldn't recommend it, especially early on. Because we see that when Teofimo Lopez gets frustrated, he usually does not display a plan B or a plan C. And so if Josh Taylor uses boxing skills and his boxing ability to frustrate Teofimo Lopez, he can actually leave Teo dumbfounded and then start scoring those points that he does and then become the winner. That's what I say. That's what I think. The chat has already engaged. So this is going to be a good fight. Once again, like I said, while it lasts, and let me just stop and ask you this question since we're talking about wins, losses, adjustments in the ring. Who y'all got on that Adrian Broner fight tonight? Let me just get that out the way right now. Adrian Broner and Billy Hutchinson. I don't even know too much about the guy, Billy Hutchinson. We know a lot about AB. You in the chat and you viewing at home and you watching all around the world, you may know more about Billy than we do here on this side. But, what do y'all think? How Broner going to look tonight? What is he going to do? How's he going to win? Is he going to win? Somebody said that AB is going to win by knockout. That would be highly unusual. But like I said, anything and everything happens in the sport of boxing. Most people in the chat is going with AB, but I see somebody going for the attorney. I think they think the attorney's going to win. We shall see. Who y'all got in this fight tonight? Let's talk about it real quick because, I want to say something too. And I know that people are going to disagree, and some other people are going to agree with me. Adrian Broner said some very highly distasteful things at the press conference. And AB basically said because, and I'm just paraphrasing, because his opponent, Billy Hutchinson, is an attorney, he said that after he finished beating Billy Hutchinson, he's going to hire him to represent himself in any of his legal matters moving forward. And then he continued to talk and say, I have a couple of my N-words that's fighting murders or basically in jail for bodies or homicides. And I'm gonna need you to represent them too. And when I heard that, I cut it off. I don't know what he said after that. That's what I'm talking about when I speak on the antics of AB. None of that was necessary at all. And it's unprofessional. These are the things that, like I said earlier, usually come back to bite AB in the butt when we talk about consequences. There's no place in the sport of boxing for that. It's unprofessional. Now, talking trash to each other, that's cool. But when you start talking about speaking on people's court cases, including your own, and all of that, and then you use the N-word and you can't mix street with business. You cannot mix street with business. This business alone gets gangster sometimes. And I'm talking about in the business level. But you can't mix the elements of it inside of the business of boxing. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine a few months back, and I said to him, I realized something, growing up in life and being more mature, that the pen is mightier than the sword. And that's a true fact. So I said all that to say that people can use certain weapons, and that's their way of appearing gangster. But the person or the people or the company or the agency that has The authority with a pen can defeat you even when you have a weapon. And I'm using that in legal terms and beyond. So I want AB to get all of that immaturity, all of that quote unquote being a real G out of his system. Because if you really think about it, and let me tell you why I'm talking like this. Because if Adrian Broner keeps going to press conferences and getting in front of cameras, and he's going public, and he keeps on making these type of references, right? Guess what that does to the company that's representing him, like the Don King Productions? Guess what that happens to AB's brand himself? Losing money. Why? Because it's hard to convince sponsors, right? It's hard to convince sponsors to contribute any fiduciaries when you're in those type of environments, because when they provide those financial resources in exchange for advertisement, it messes up their image and they stay firmly away from that. Let me tell you all a quick story. I will not mention the other party involved, but I will say this. Let me put my glasses on because I want to make sure I'm reading the chat and engaging with you all as well. Let me tell you this story. I didn't know that, Mr. Pragmatic, that Rigondeaux is a co-main event on the AB card. I did not know that. Oh, that's interesting to know. So Rigondeaux is also making a comeback. Let me tell you all a quick story. I was managing a professional boxer. And many of you that has been a part of this channel for months have heard me make references to one of the methods that I use to help fighters, professional fighters, particularly on the lower levels as well, and the local levels, gain sponsorship, right? Through certain business relationships that I have. This one particular fighter I was managing, this is not recent, this is a little while ago. I was advocating on his behalf, excuse me, to get some form of sponsorship from a serious individual who owns their own legal practice, right? And I went to the owner on the strength of my relationship with the owner, that he is an attorney, big time attorney. And I said my spill, my marketability expertise in the negotiations on behalf of this fighter. And I specifically told this attorney, these are the terms and conditions. If you are willing to provide this much of amount of money in exchange for A, B, C, and D, that the fighter will provide in exchange. Through several different negotiations, I got the deal done. I'm just telling y'all this last part. This had nothing to do with it. I'm just letting you know this. I do not take a percentage of any of that at all from the fighter. That's just how I do things. Can't speak for no other manager, blah, 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 promoter. I'm talking about Manager Marty, how I do business. All of the money goes directly to the fighter. All 100% of it is for the fighter, not for me. Now, 2 days before the check was going to be wired through ACH payment into the fighter's account, I get a phone call. from the attorney. This is a true story. You know I would never lie to you. Attorney says, Marty, did you look at the fighter's social media page lately? I said, well, how recent are you referring to? He says, a few days ago. I said, no, the fighter is in training camp. I know where the fighter's at. I just seen the fighter in the gym yesterday. He said, I would like for you to check it out. And if you can, give me a call right back. I said, sure, no problem. Checked it out. And all I can do is shake my head like this. Because I already knew when I got the attorney back on the phone, I already knew how that conversation was going to go. However, I still called the attorney back. The attorney says, I want to recant and decline my agreement with the fighter because of the things that I personally saw on the fighter's social media page. My firm do not represent A, B, and C. And we advocate for A, B, and C, and that would be not even just a conflict of interest, but a tarnish on our image because of the content of what was shown on the social media page. I am going to say that the first word starts with the letter D and the second word starts with the letter V. You are our adults. You know what I'm talking about when I say the content start with the letter D, right? Okay. First letter D in the first word, and the second letter is V in the second word, which I will not say on YouTube, because we already know when YouTube start siphoning through the content, because you know we monetize, you know when they hear those words, or if they see it in the thumbnail or the title, they be acting real funny. But y'all know what that is. So that was a part of the content that was in that live video post. And needless to say, my relationship with that attorney is still intact to this day. But the financials benefit that the fighter could have received and the relationship moving forward was forfeited. Okay? Somebody's asking about D and V. Okay, I'll give you another hint. The second letter in the word D, the second letter in the word that starts with D is the letter O. The second letter in the word V is I. So D-O, and then the word that starts with the letter V is V-I. I don't have to spill it out. You already should know at this point. If you don't, email me, I'll tell you if you did. If you're that concerned and you don't figure it out now, shoot me an email and I'll just tell you the word, 2 words in email. Fair enough? Great. Now, that's what I'm basically saying about Adrian Broner when he's using certain words in press conferences, when he's doing certain things on video, how it will tarnish business relationships, especially when it comes to the money. We know how organizations and sponsors are when it comes to image. If you are a business owner, you understand that as well. It's all about perception. It's all about the image. Okay? This is why professional athletes in other sports get criticized, suspended, fined, etc. when they do things that are quote unquote detrimental to the team or it tarnishes the image of the organization that they are employed by, such as the NBA, the NFL, MLB, etc. Okay? Those same principles apply to professional fighters. So I'm saying all of that to say that I encourage Adrian Broner at this stage of his career, if he wants to become a world champion again and remain as marketable as he is, or the lack thereof, if he needs to get remarketable, because of course he has a lot of legal trouble in his past, etc. He needs to switch all of that up now, especially now that he's with another promoter and Don King. Salute to Mark in the chat, all the way from New Mexico. I salute you, my fellow Mexicano. Did I pronounce that right? I think so. All the way from New Mexico. Salute to you, Mark. And so that's what I'm referring to. Now, we are at that segment now. Hold on, y'all. I got to fix this because hold on. Yeah, this thing can't be mixing up. Houston, Texas is in the building. I see you. So now we got the deal with our segment. But before we go into our segment, I want to play something that I played in the beginning of this broadcast. Okay? I played something at the beginning of this broadcast, and I'm going to play it again for all of you, because there was only a few of you that just was coming in slowly. So I want to replay for all of you that are here now watching, because the viewership has increased exponentially from the first time that we started this broadcast tonight. So give me 1 second. Let me roll the tape back. And then I'm going to fly the kite in the chat, because we are going to begin our segment of Nip It in the Bud. Don't take my word for it. Roll the tape.
Blue called me up and said, Bozy. I said, what's up, Blue? He said, no, I got a good deal for you. I said, what's the deal? I can make that fight happen with Terence and Boots. I said, let's make that happen, man. That's the fight we want. Like that, right? So he said, would you do me a favor? I said, what? Would you talk to Zab and the head of Blue, BLK? BLK Pride? Yeah, the head of Blue. I said, yeah, I'll get on the phone with him. All three of them was on the phone talking to me. So, and I talked to the boss, BLK boss, whatever he is. And he says, yeah, well, we want you to have that fight, man. We can make the fight happen, all that stuff. But all along, what he really wanted, he wanted us to come over to their organization. I was reading between lines. He said, yeah, if you come over here, you do this. I said, no. I'm not going to come over there. I'm with Showtime. And that's who I'm loyal to, because the way they treat us. They treat us good. And there's a lot of things I can't say to y'all. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of things that I don't have to do that other people do with Showtime. You know what I mean? So why would I leave there and go over there? You know what I mean? So I said, no, what y'all do, talk to Espinoza and set the fight up, and then we can go from there. You know what I mean? Because we need that fight real bad. We want that fight real bad. So they said, okay, we'll do that. I talked to Espinoza. He said they called him. He talked to him. He talked to him and everything. And when he talked to him, he said they really wasn't really talking about fighting. He said, man, listen, whenever y'all ready to make the fight happen, we can make the fight happen like that. And that's all Espinoza told me. He said, man, they supposed to call me back and set everything up. They never called him back. So
one thing that Crawford did bring up is that essentially he said that you've abandoned the pursuit of the WBO title and decided to go the IBF route, and he's taking it kind of as like a swerve. But it sounded to me like Crawford, out of the guys, is the guy that you really, really want. Can you confirm that?
I wanted both of them, him and Spence. So listen to this. When Crawford said that, right?
Yeah.
He probably don't even know. They probably didn't even involve him in the conversation at all. And like I told Crawford, I mean, if y'all seen the interview with me and Crawford, me and who was talking was Gilly was saying, yo, Bo, I said, what's up? Because he had FaceTime me first, and I know it was him. So then he texted me, said, Bo, this is Gilly. So I hit him back. He said, Crawford's in it. So, I quickly hit him back when Crawford did. So that's, Crawford, that's my man. I like Crawford. So we talking. He said, man, I heard y'all turned it down. Now, Gilly know the truth. All of them, but, that's what he got to say. Like you just got to say what you have to say. So I said, man, that's a lie. And I explained to him the same thing I explained to y'all just now. And I said, Crawford, and you know the truth, man. Bruce been trying to fight you since 2018. You win Spence. We want to see where we coming from, because y'all two are the best.
So why do you think Crawford would kind of say that anyways?
Well, that's what some fighters do, man. They want to make everybody think they more than what they really is when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? And like I told Crawford, I said, Crawford, we've been wanting to fight you, and you know it. He said, that's when he said about taking that other route. Why would we take that route, the WBO, when he's already the IBF mandatory? So we weren't even looking at that. Well, we was number 2 or number 3 on WBO, right? And now think this, we was number 2. I said, now, since you running your mouth, that's what I told him. I said, why did you take anesthesia, not anesthesia, before us? We was number 2. You know what I mean? You could have reported. Oh, you see him set up. And I said that.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear what Mr. Bosey said? Did y'all hear what Mr. Bosey said just now? I want to do an audio check. In the chat, can someone tell me if you heard that live audio? I want to make sure the audio is working properly here. Can someone in the chat tell me if you heard that live? Did you hear that live? Did you hear that clear? Did you hear that loudly? Did y'all hear what Mr. Bosey said? That was Jerron Boots Ennis' dad and trainer, Mr. Bosey. That was him talking. Y'all heard that? Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard that too. All right, so everybody in the chat said they heard it loud and clear. Okay. You know what's interesting about that? I've done several different videos talking about this. And when I was talking about it, people were saying I was trying to build my channel off of Blue Blood Sports TV. I said all this months ago when I talked about what happened in the interim of the quote-unquote negotiations between BLK Prime and Mr. Bosey. Y'all remember that? And people were saying, oh, you trying to build your name off of Blue Blood. And then, Blue Blood did all them diss tracks on me, on his channel. You know what I mean? Y'all remember that. Just a couple months ago. I'm not rehashing nothing. I'm just filling in the new audience that's just coming in. And I talked about how BLK Prime, they never even had Crawford under contract, which we already knew. But Mr. Bosey said something that was interesting. Because when I said it, I was hating on Bud Crawford. Because when I said it, I was hating on Blue Blood. When I said it, people criticized me and said I'm trying to build my channel off of Blue Blood's name, and I was trying to build my channel off of Bud's name. Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that? So Bozy asked the same question I did, but when I said it, I got criticized. Never mind. Let's go back to what Bozy said. Bozy said he asked Crawford specifically, why did you fight David Evanesian instead of fighting us when we were ranked number 2 in the WBO? Many of you have heard me say that live on this channel numerous of times. And I've asked Terence Bud Crawford fans on Tuesday night, the week before that, and the week before that, I asked them, were you cool with Crawford fighting David Evanesian? And every Bud Crawford fan that I asked told me yes, they were fine with him fighting David Evanesian. But you heard what Bozy said. Why would you, Crawford, that's what Bozy said, he said to Crawford now, fight David Evanesian when you knew that Boots was ranked number 2 in the WBO? That's what Bozy said he told Crawford. And then Bozy said, y'all just heard him, he said, you see Crawford shut up after I said that, right? That's Bozy talk. Oh, my guy is here? Why y'all ain't tell me my man was here? Salute my guy, Ricky Williams. My main man. I didn't know he was here, y'all. Thank you for your contribution and your support to the channel, Rick. Man, I didn't even know my man Rick was here. Rick says, shout out to manager Marty. I was wrong, but I was right. Looking forward to this fight now that it is happening. Great work, bro. Salute to you, Rick. Thank you for supporting and contributing to the channel, man. Hey, listen, you still was right. That's the whole thing. You was right, Ricky. But what made it seem like you was wrong, Crawford finally got the courage. That's all that was, Rick. So I wouldn't look at it like you was wrong. I would look at it that you was right. And you know what I also want to say about that too, Rick? And to all of you who's watching this, and I believe this with all my heart, if this fight really happens, because you already know where I stand with it. YouTube, and when I say YouTube, I'm talking specifically about the boxing community on YouTube. When they talked about us, what we do, content creators, media, in boxing on YouTube, is the driving force of boxing media. I'm talking about YouTube and content creators specifically. Whether we agree or disagree is not the point. This is a generalization. YouTube, particularly in the boxing community, is the #1 source of boxing news and information. So, with that being said, I believe as a whole, people who were saying things about Crawford on YouTube as content creators, and I'm talking collectively now, I believe had some form, whether it be small, medium, or large, some form of contribution that helped make this fight materialize. Because who else did all of the fighters turn to? Who else did all of the boxing fans turn to? Not ESPN, not Showtime. It was YouTube. So, Rick, you was right. And the bottom line is, if they do fight, which most likely they will, we all gonna get what we've been asking for. And most of you have been asking for this fight and saying the things y'all been saying about Crawford way before I even came on YouTube. So salute to all of you all. And speaking of Bud, y'all know we at that segment now because we need answers. And I'm sure Bud fans want to say some things to me. Well, I have designated, and I don't think there's not another YouTuber as far as boxing content that has done this. If it has, great for them, but I wanted to do this personally. Set up a segment, a format, a platform, because that's what you Bud fans really want. You want a platform. So I'm going to give it to you. And the link is in the chat. So come on up. We've waited all night for you. Come on down. There's only one qualification, by the way. if you are a Terence Bud Crawford fan. That's the only qualification. Come on down. The link is in the chat, and I pinned it to the top. Come on down. Let's go. I have some questions for you, and I'm sure, based on the comments that you've made about Manager Marty in the chat, in my comment section, on YSM Sports Media content, detailed content, for non-content, everything's boxing content. Those are the platforms I was on when I saw certain people saying, "Sir, come on down." The floor is yours. And as your other constituent, who's also a Bud Crawford fan, he said this on Tuesday night in the chat. He said, "Come on and speak your piece." And he's a Bud fan. So listen to him. My man Greg Quarterbaum. I didn't see him in the chat tonight, so he might not be with us this evening. But come on down. Boxing Talk asked me in the chat, "Are you talking about me, Marty?" Boxing Talk, I don't recall ever seeing you in the chat. So I don't know what you're referring to when you said, "Am I talking about you?" You gotta be more specific. What are you referring to, Boxing Talk? But you can hit the link though if you want. But I don't know what you mean when you said, "Are you talking about me, Marty?" What part? What are you referring to? I'm trying to understand what. Maybe I missed something in the chat. But anyway, the link is here. Bud Crawford fans, come on up. Come on up. This segment is for you. We've been doing this for the last few weeks. So this is nothing new for tonight. Okay? So come on up. Hit the link. It's in the chat. It's pinned to the top. I flew that kite right in there. Yeah, you know how you just fly a kite, you just let the kite go. That's what I did with the link. I just let the chat go. I let the link go in the chat. I gotta get my words right with this. Y'all know I'm still a YouTube rookie, and I take pride in it. But we ain't talking about me. We want Terence Bud Crawford fans who have some questions for me, some comments, some concerns. I have questions. The chat may have questions. I'm just saying. We always have Greg. Come on, hold on, Greg. I see you in the background, Greg. Hold on, Mr. Greg. I see you in the background. I thought Mr. Greg wasn't here, so I didn't see him in the chat. This segment is for Terence Bud Crawford fans. I will let Mr. Greg on, but I always let Mr. Greg on. And Mr. Greg himself done told y'all because he's a Bud fan too now. And he's always respectful, and he's one of the most honest Bud fans that I've met thus far. So all I'm saying is, come on in, because I know you're here. See, it's one thing if I didn't know you were here, but I know you're here. I know you're viewing, and I know you're going to watch the replay, and then I know you're going to do this in the comment section. I got a whole segment for you. Come on down. Hey, y'all didn't like me criticize. Y'all said I was criticizing Bud, right? So y'all start criticizing me. No problem. I had to eat that. It's no big deal. But come on down. Yeah, because I know you're here. You see, it's interesting to me, right? People can say that this channel is a pro spits channel. I've heard people say it in the comment section. I've heard people say in the chat, this is a PBC podcast. I heard that. Well, it can't be a PBC podcast, and it definitely can't be a pro spits channel if most of you are Crawford fans too. Y'all Crawford fans too in the chat. Some of you, not all of you, some of you. And some of you are viewing in the background, not in the chat, and y'all just watching. Come on down. Mr. Greg, I see you in the background. I told you I'm going to let you on. But hold on, Mr. Greg. I'm not dissing you. Hold on. When I say I'm not dissing you, I'm not just leaving you out there. I acknowledge I see you in the background. But there's more. And I know there are more Bud Crawford fans. I know there is. You don't have to be in the chat. You might be a Bud fan and might not be in the chat, but you're viewing this. I know that you are. I know it. And so do people in the chat. We all know. So we want to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to speak their piece. Mr. Ellis, I think that's your last name. I'll just call you by your first name. Kareem, you're in the background, Kareem. I see you. Can you do me one solid, Kareem? For the sake of the viewership, can you please show your face to me on the camera? You don't have to show your face on the broadcast when I bring you on if you don't want. That's your decision. But just so I can make sure we're going to get human interaction and you're not trolling, that you are a real human, can you just turn your camera on, Kareem? I'm watching you in the back. Just turn your camera on. My man, that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to bring you on to the segment. We have Kareem, and I believe that Kareem is a Terence Bud Crawford fan because this segment is called Nip It in the Bud. If you're just joining us live, this is the segment where I allow Terence Bud Crawford fans to come on this segment, speak their piece about Bud Crawford, and let's have a healthy dialogue about some of the things that's been going on lately, in the past, currently. It really doesn't matter as long as we hear Bud Crawford fans' perspective. Because we got to make sure that we are equally as fair to everyone because we all have one thing in common, and that is what? We love the sport of boxing. Kareem, are you still there? Kareem, you might have to come on, Kareem. You might have to come back on, Kareem. Kareem did show his face. And I'm trying to wait for Kareem to come back to us. Kareem, come back on. I was trying to add you to the stream, and then when I went back there, you were gone. Come on back in, Kareem. We love to have you. Anybody else, though, besides Mr. Greg? We know Mr. Greg is back there waiting to come on. But this segment is for Terence Bud Crawford fans. Just this segment right here. We ain't going to hold the whole night up for you. Okay? But come on in. Mike, I know you in the chat. I see you, Mr. Saucedo. You're more than welcome to come back on, Mr. Michael. You're also welcome. Come on in. It's amazing to me, y'all. Let me just say this while we're waiting for a Bud fan to come in. It's amazing to me how people be in the chat, be in the comments sections, and saying all of this stuff. I mean, I don't care what y'all say. This is all entertainment. But I'm saying, like, y'all say all of this stuff. Now you got a platform. Just come on here and say it to me now. That's all I'm saying. We're going to have a healthy dialogue. You know what I'm talking about? We got women in the chat. And so what I'm saying is, if you're a Bud fan and you're a female, I encourage you. You can come on down too. We don't discriminate here. This is an all-inclusive channel. You all know that by the way we do our Town Watch check-ins. Okay? Somebody said my name in the chat. Oh, okay. I got you. Okay, so Kareem says, oh, okay, so he's not a Bud fan. That's why he jumped off. I think that's Kareem. I think that was him. I'm not sure. I got you. Any Bud fans here, though? Any Bud fans? No? I know we got to have at least one. I know you're going to tell me we got all these people watching us live in living color, and we don't have not one Terence Bud Crawford fan here? I know that's not true. Okay, somebody's saying we here. Okay, Michael Saucedo is saying we here. Dog, I don't know how to pronounce. On your screen, it says we here. Okay, that's what's up. Glad you're here. We're not taking attendance. We want production to come out of this. Yeah. Produce. Come on down. Yeah, I'm not. You know how teachers used to do roll call in school? Here. No. We're not doing we here. Just hit the link. That's what we want you to do because we want to have an opportunity to hear you. We can understand you. It's not no pro Spence channel. We talk the business of boxing on this channel. You understand what I'm saying? This ain't no PBC podcast, but that's what y'all be saying. So since y'all saying that, we're going to have a segment for you. Come on down, Michael. Yeah, I see you talking real slick in the chat, Mike. I see you about to start talking real slick in the chat, Mike. Come on down. Oh, yes. Come on in. Boxing talk. You're more than welcome to come out too. Justin, you said I'm Bud all day, but I'm not jumping on. All right. I'm just saying though. See, we've seen this movie time and time and time again. Haven't we, y'all? We've seen this movie time and time and time again. Haven't we? See, some of y'all done called this YouTube beef when I had certain situations with Michael Williams Sr. Y'all called that YouTube beef. When I had certain situations with Blue Blood Sports TV, some of you called it YouTube beef. When I had some critique, professional critique for Terence Crawford, some of you called it YouTube beef. But you know what's interesting about all of that? Had a little situation with Green. At least he did come. I got to give him credit for clicking the link and coming. But you know what's interesting about that? None of the other people that y'all claim I had a YouTube beef, none of them clicked that link. None of them clicked the link and came on here. That's what I'm saying. This is not a YouTube beef. Just come on. You said all of that in the comments section. You said all that defending Bud in the chat. You said some highly distasteful things about me, which is perfectly fine. I don't care about none of that. But I want you to come on now. Some of you done called my phone personally, done text me, done inbox me on social media, all of that. I know you watching now. Link is in the chat. Come on in. That's all I'm saying. Come on in and click that link. That's all we saying. And the people that call me personally, they know me personally. They know that this is exactly how I am in real life. I'm not doing this for you to click the link. You know what I'm going to start doing? I'm about to start calling the people that called me. The same people that be texting my phone all week, inboxing me all week, calling me all week, sending me emails all week about Bud this, I'm hating, I'm doing this and that. I should call them live. I ain't going to do that to them, though, because they know me personally. But I'm just saying, click the link. Is the link still up there, y'all? I don't want to do all this talking, and the link is not even in the chat. It's not even pinned to the top. Is it up there? Oh, it is, Mr. Pratt. Thank you, Mr. Pratt. So it is in there. Oh, okay. All right, well. Thank you, Jay Davis. Appreciate it. So it is there. Okay. Thank you, Diana. It's pinned. Okay. Thank you, Stephen Teller. Appreciate that. It's there. All right. All right. Well, I guess Manager Marty wins again. I don't know why. Yo, let me just ask y'all in the chat real quick. I'm going to have fun real quick. We're going to move on. We ain't going to belabor the point. I just want to have fun just because as I be thinking to myself, why don't nobody want to come here? Let me reframe that. The people that be talking crazy, like with the slick talk, why don't they want to come here? Like, you know what I'm saying? I just want to know. I just find it really interesting. That's all. The people that would say, why don't they want to come here? I'm just asking. Like the link is there, right? The link is always there. And it's like when they had the opportunity to come, they don't want to come here. I thought that I make it respectable here. I'm just saying, like when you challenge somebody in the comment section or the chat and all that, it's like stand on it. Just come on down. Like, I just want to make sure it's not me. Because if it's me, I'll stop the whole segment. I won't do this no more. If it's really me, you know what I'm saying? I won't do the segments no more. You understand what I'm saying? Because I don't want anyone to think that I'm just wasting your time. I would not do that. I just want to make sure that we all are on the same page. We don't have to agree on everything, but I want to make sure that Terence Bud Crawford fans have an opportunity to speak their piece about Bud or whatever. You know what I mean? Because people are criticizing my channel, saying I'm building this off of Crawford. I'm doing all of this. I'm hating on the guy. So it's like, okay, let's hear Bud Crawford fans' perspective so that we all can have an understanding. And that's what this thing is basically about, because it's all about having one thing in common, and that is that we love the sport of boxing. We have Oscar Bryant in the building.
What's up, bro? What's up, man? How's it going?
How are you?
I'm good, brother.
Before I go to you, Bryant, Oscar, there's a guy in the chat. I have to acknowledge him real quick, and that's my guy, Big Dose 513. Salute to my guy, Big Dose 513. Yeah, Big Dose. I got those beats, Big Dose. I emailed you back. Big Dose 513. He sent me this beat. I'm going to go in the studio, tear this beat up. You hear me? I'm going to tear this. Hey, salute to my guy, Big Dose 513. When I drop them lyrics on that beat. I'm going to do that real soon, Big Dose. Salute to him. Now back to you, Mr. Oscar. Mr. Oscar, I don't want to assume anything because we have thousands of people watching live right now, and some of them will watch the replay of this live. I don't want to assume anything. Yes, I do rap, Farouk. I do. Are you a Terence Bud Crawford fan?
Yes.
My man.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. My God. So you're here live. You know the name of the segment is called Nip It in the Bud. I think you've been, here seeing how the format goes, so I don't have to explain how the format goes.
That's right.
So you're here live now, brother. The floor is yours.
Well, first of all, bro, man, I give props to your show. I'm glad you got somebody else on to give another spin of the picture here. Man, but Bud's name speaks for itself, man. You know what I'm saying? What he brings to the table, bro, he brings all the tools to the toolbox, man. He got all the tools, bro. However Spence wants to fight, it don't matter, bro. Bud can fight his style. He can fight his own style. He's just that crafty enough, man. That's what you're not giving. That's what I don't see a lot of people giving Bud his credit, you know what I'm saying, being that his IQ level that is up there, man. You know what I'm saying? And let's be critical, man. Your man Spence fought somebody who had 4 losses. If I wasn't correct, you supposed to punish somebody with 4 losses, bro. You supposed to punish somebody. You dig what I'm saying? And I promise you, if Bud touch you, he ain't gonna do what Ugas did. Promise you that, bro. I'm telling you. So that's all I got to say, bro. The floor is yours, bro. This platform, you know what I'm saying? I just want to say, you know what I'm saying, thanks for having me on, bro.
You're welcome, Oscar. I have a few questions that I want to ask you. You had mentioned that Crawford has tools in the toolbox.
Tools with an S.
Tools in the toolbox. And you're basically saying that Crawford's going to beat Spence. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
He's going to beat Spence. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. So,
Spence is good, though. Don't think nothing wrong with Spence. Spence is, he's up there, bro. No doubt about it. But, it's just that edge. You got to get that edge to that dog, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been watching this since the '80s, bro. Since the '80s, I can speak on the Hagglers because I watched them as a shorty, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's he got that dog in him, bro. They both got that dog in, but dude got that little bit that extra, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you gonna see, bro. I mean, it's on now. I mean, we started talking. It's on.
I got you. So you said that Crawford has all the twos in the toolbox, and I have to say he does have some twos in the toolbox. But you also said that, your words, not mine, Spence was supposed to do that to fighters who have, I think you said 4 losses on their record. You were referring to Ugas? Well, you talking about him?
Yes.
Oh, I see. So can you name just one? We don't need you to go down a whole list because we don't have a lot of time, but just one if you can. Can you name just one fighter that Crawford beat in the welterweight division? Besides Horn, because I know he got the WBO. I'm talking about after he won the title, after he won the WBO title against Jeff Horn. Can you name one fighter, just one? We don't have to know whole list. Just one fighter that Crawford beat that was undefeated.
Oh, that was undefeated?
Yeah, welterweight division. After he beat Jeff Horn for the belt. Because he was the champion after he beat,
Yeah,
Jeff
he
Horn.
was a champion after that. Yeah. No, he has not been an undefeated champion.
Oh, he hasn't?
No, not since he took the belt from Horn.
Oh, okay. So Spence, when he had the belt, he fought guys, well, at least one guy you said had 4 losses, and that was your talking point. But you admitted
Yeah.
But you admitted that Bud Crawford, he beat guys that had multiple losses on their record too.
Yeah.
Right. I see.
I agree.
I'm listening to you. Oh,
No, I'm saying, but yeah, they both had but like I said, you're supposed to do that though. So when Bud fought somebody with multiple losses, like more than 3, 4, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to do that. When you at that level like that, you're supposed to do that. And quiet as kept, I don't even think Ugas should be in that picture though, dog. Let's keep it 100. Ugas ain't even up in that category with no Bud or anybody else who Bud fought. You know what I'm saying? Keep it 100 with you though, for real. He fought an old Pacquiao, who Spence was supposed to fight, but Spence pulled out. Remember that eye injury? You remember that, right?
Yeah, I do. That's the same Pacquiao. I got you. But that is the same Pacquiao that Bud Crawford wanted to fight a year before that. That him? You talking about that Pacquiao? Oh, okay.
That Pacquiao.
So Bud wanted to fight him.
It was the same way. I don't feel like Bud should have fought him, but Bud was going off. He thought he needed that fight to make his name. Nah, man. Pacquiao, nah, bro. You don't get no recognition fighting no 40-year-old, bro. No props on that. I'm glad Spence didn't fight him though. Look what happened. I'm glad Spence didn't fight him though. For real. That's just my take on it. It wouldn't have been no blemish on Spence's record for not fighting no Pacquiao. Spence's record is still good. He's still good without seeing the Pacquiao though. So his team did good by backing on that fight though.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was an undefeated fight. Since we're talking about undefeated fighters, because you said that Spence had the world title. He fought guys that had multiple losses on their record, including Ugas, you said, who had about 3 or 4. I pointed out that Crawford, he hasn't fought 3. Okay. He hasn't fought no
4
undefeated fighters as well. And he also fought fighters that had multiple losses on their records as well when he fought them. So, but there was a fighter who is undefeated, and he was undefeated, and he was ranked number 2 in the WBO. And we heard Bozy Ennis, the father of him, say something to Crawford about. So, how come Crawford didn't fight Gerard Boots Ennis? He was undefeated, and he was ranked number 2 in the WBO.
I think Boots got to wait his turn though, dog. Boots is up and coming. He's the up and coming hog, man. You know what I'm saying? He got to wait his turn, man. You know what I'm saying? He just can't come to the Lions Den, man. Think he want to eat. You know what I'm saying? Real fast. You got to chill out a little bit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Get his wins up a little bit. You pretty good to see these dudes, man. Before you get to see either one of them, Crawford or Spence, man. You know what I'm saying? That's let him work his way up a little bit, man. Don't give him that right now, man.
I see.
That's all.
So I got you. But you know, Crawford fans, they wasn't saying what you were saying about Boots to Crawford when he was just coming up and he wanted to fight Pacquiao. Remember, he was just coming up before he got to 147 and he wanted to fight Pacquiao.
I dig that.
You remember that?
I dig that. I dig that. I dig that. I can dig it. I can dig it. But like I say, man, it's right now in Boots. We ain't even talking about Boots right now, man. This platform right now is we talking about Spence and Bud, man. You dig what I'm saying? We get.
But I was just bringing him up because you know you said that Boots got to wait his turn and everything. He's still green and everything. He's still young. But I remember when Crawford was green and young before he got to 147, he kept trying to jockey for position to fight Pacquiao when Pacquiao was up top. And you agreed with me and said that's true. So
I agree.
So why do these rules keep changing for certain fighters?
But Bud made his bones though, man. Bud went about it the other way. He said, okay, if Pacquiao didn't want to see me, let me keep making my mark. That's what Boots got to keep doing. He got to keep chipping away, bro. He gonna get it. He gonna get what he asking for though. You know what I'm saying? He definitely gonna get that work, man. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't no real money in that though, dog. Boots ain't got no name behind him though yet. You dig what I'm saying? Once Boots get that big name behind him, only true boxing fans know about Boots, man.
Crawford didn't have no big name behind him either, but he still wanted to fight Pacquiao.
But like I said, he kept coming though. He kept knocking at that door. Boots got to keep knocking at that door, man. Somebody gonna answer it, but Boots got to keep knocking at that door, man.
Well, the difference between Boots and Crawford, when you say keep knocking at the door, Crawford had a great promoter who is like this with the WBO. So most of top-ranked fighters, if you've noticed for the last 6 or 7 years, they're all WBO champions, the top guys. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, but he ain't with Top Rank no more.
Right, but I'm just saying he secured the WBO title and 2 divisions while he was with them.
Okay, we get it. I dig what you're coming from.
Right, so it's easy for you to say Boots got to do all his knocking and do all his banging and kicking on the door.
Okay, it's the same way.
Well, let me finish. Boots got to do all his kicking, knocking, and banging on the door when Crawford has the whole machine behind him that put up the money, that made the phone calls to get him in those positions, to get the WBO strap in 140 and 147. He ain't had to keep knocking, banging, and kicking on the door. You see my point?
I see your point.
So that's why I'm trying to figure out is, you know, why the rules keep changing when it comes to Bud.
So rules ain't changed for Spence? I mean, Spence been having them straps for a whole year now and ain't fought nobody. So what was he waiting on? Ain't nobody in line for them straps?
He was waiting on Bud. He was waiting on Bud.
But no. Ain't nobody else. But Bud fought somebody.
You cool with that?
I'm saying Bud fought somebody though. Why ain't what you call it fought nobody over the year though, bro? A whole year off?
Oscar, you're starting to start
from 7 months.
Oscar, there's a tactic that I am used to people using, and I call them out for it. What you're doing is gaslighting, sir. I asked you a question, and you start talking all around me. Why did why did Crawford fight Ebenezer? And I asked you, were you cool with that? You okay with him fighting Ebenezer? Was you cool with that?
He got his bread. He got his bread for that.
I know, but I'm asking you it's just yes or no. It's just
yes. I'm cool. Yes.
Cool with him fighting.
I'm cool with that man getting his money.
No, not about him money. See, we ain't talking about the money. I'm talking about him fighting.
But that's part of boxing is fighting. Getting money is part of fighting, right? I mean, getting money, that's what you're fighting for, is money.
Right.
Staying busy, and he's staying busy.
I see. So now I can walk you into Now I'm walking you into a room, and I know you're not going to try to leave the room. So let me walk you in it. So you're
Just
cool
go.
with Crawford fighting David Evanesian for the money, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But you discredited Spence for choosing not to make money for a whole year to wait to fight Bud.
He said he waited. That's what he specified. Hey, I ain't putting no words in his mouth. That's what he said he did. That's what he said he did.
But listen, you just said that Spence ain't fighting nobody for a whole year. But that
Which is
meant that
mandatories.
no, hold on.
IBF?
Listen to what I'm saying.
WBA?
Hear me out. If you're giving credit to Terence Bud Crawford for fighting a number 6 WBO ranked fighter in David Evanesian for money, then how can you then equally criticize Spence for losing money for a whole year so that he can wait to fight Crawford? How can you criticize that man for losing money?
So he had to wait. He couldn't have fought nobody?
He could have. He could have fought Keith Thurman. He chose
Why?
not to fight him. And
But
see,
I'm saying don't put that on Spit. Don't put that on Crawford because you waited. He didn't hold you up.
Oscar, let me show you how you're doing it again. I asked you a question, and then you asked me a question by saying he couldn't fight such and such. The question was, how can you criticize Spence for losing money for a whole year, waiting to fight Crawford, but equally give Crawford credit for fighting David Evanesian for the money?
But I'm not criticizing him. That's not a criticism. That's on him. If you don't want to fight for a year, that's on him.
Right, but he was.
I'm not criticizing him.
He only did that because he was a man of his word. He said he.
But that's what you're. That's your opinion. That's not a fact.
That's a fact. He said.
You gotta show me paper. You gotta show me something. Show me that something paper that says that he waited. You know, say that. Hey man, I'm waiting on you to put the jury. I'm gonna let you. Show me.
Oscar, I can roll the tape right now where Errol Spence Jr.
Roll the tape, baby.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna tell you what he said first. Errol Spence Jr. himself said these words: "I could have fought Keith Thurman, but I said I'm not fighting nobody else but Crawford. I'm not fighting Keith Thurman." That was a recent interview that he said that in.
But he also said that he would never fight Keith Thurman.
Didn't he keep his word, Oscar?
Shit.
Didn't he keep his word,
he said he would never fight Keith Thurman.
Didn't he keep his word, Oscar?
He kept his motherfucking word. Shit.
So what we talking about then?
I ain't mad at you. I said, hey man, he could have fought somebody. Ain't that Keith Thurman? He already said he ain't gonna fight Keith Thurman a long time ago. Where have you been?
No, that's my point. But you're telling me that you need me to roll the tape on him saying that he wasn't gonna fight the guy.
But I know he wasn't gonna fight the guy. You got to roll that tape. I know he said he gonna fight that dude, but not for that reason though. You trying to make it seem like he's gonna fight that reason because of Bud. No.
What other reason wasn't he gonna fight Keith Thurman, man?
Because he said he didn't want to fight Keith Thurman. Because when Keith Thurman had the belts, he didn't want to fight Keith Thurman. Didn't want to fight him. Said didn't want to get him a shot at the belt. That's why he didn't want to fight Keith Thurman.
Right. He said that before he was in negotiation with Terence Crawford. That's when he said that then. He didn't say that after they was in negotiation with Crawford. He didn't say that then.
Nah, bro. Crawford knew that they were trying to play hold-up games, and why wait for a whole fucking year to get a deal done when I can go fight this dude, make this money, still get this deal done, and still make this thing happen. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm not gonna sit myself on no shelf for no year when I can make the deal happen and still get paid from the Avenesian dude.
How much did he make?
Come on, man. Come on, man. And we still got the fight. And we still got the fight coming on.
Right, Oscar. How much money did Bud make when he fought David Evanesian?
I don't know. It don't matter, man. I can't count Bud's pockets, man.
No. You've been counting his money in his pockets.
I ain't counting Bud's pockets, man.
You've been counting his pockets for the last 5 minutes. So how much?
What you mean? I said go get his money. I don't know how much his bread is. Go get it. As long as he go get it, dog. I ain't hating on his bread. I said go get it. Spence could have went and got it too.
you said you was cool with him fighting David Ebenezer because he went to go get that money. So I'm asking you, how much money
I
did
don't
he
know
get?
how much he got, bro.
Well, you talking
I
like
don't
he
know.
got
Honestly, I don't know.
You talking like he got 10 million. The way you was trying to make it seem like he
Hey,
got a
hey,
big
whatever
bag or
he
something.
got, it was more than what I got. Salute to him. So whatever he got, bro. So whatever he got, go get it.
I don't care. I don't care what he got. I was asking you because you made a reference about money. You know, you brought this whole money thing up.
I mean, they prize fighters. That's what they fight for, money.
So why didn't Crawford sign the contract then?
He signed it. Don't matter. He signed it now. I can't speak for what Crawford again did.
I didn't ask you what matters. I asked you, why didn't Crawford sign the contract then if it was about prize fighting and money?
Okay, it is about prize fighting because the deal is done.
You still haven't answered the question, guys.
But we're talking about something that's irrelevant because the deal is done. Why he didn't do it then and why he did it yesterday, it makes no difference. It's done.
But I'm only asking you because you're referencing money. So I'm asking you, why didn't he do it then if it was all about the money? If it don't matter, you said it don't matter how much he got paid, David Amnesia.
But
so then why
you asked me a question that you should be asking Bud Crawford why he didn't do it then and why he did it now. I don't know.
I have no problem.
But he still made it. He made money off the Abanesian fight, and he gonna make money off this fight. He gonna make money, and again on the rematch. So Bud did it straight, bro. But if he would have did how we want him to do it, see, he can't do it how we want him to do it. If it was up to me, it should have been done a long time ago. But it's not up to me, bro. It's not my call, bro.
I got you.
See,
if
it's up to me, they should have been fighting a long time ago, bro.
I got you. You know what's interesting, Oscar? It's interesting to me that people say Marty asked Bud. I'm the same guy to have a conversation. I had a conversation with Bud Crawford, right? And
I believe you.
Personally, I'm saying, and face to face, I'm saying, right? So I was discredited for the things I said to Bud then, but then now it's, oh, manager Marty, go ask Bud. I can't get a hold of Bud. I'm getting a hold of the people that are his fans who be in my comment section. So I'm asking y'all. Y'all his fans. So I can't get the Bud, or else I would ask him.
But I agree with you on some of your comments, though, Marty. Though, so I can't disagree. I can't just discredit you and say, "Oh no, you ain't never faced this man. You never had no conversation." I can't believe some things that you say that it's not true, because what I've been listening to you know, saying not just on this one, but the previous things I heard you was on point. So I can't knock you, bro.
I appreciate that. But enough with the hugs and kisses. We didn't come for that.
Enough with that shit.
We came for answers. And the answer to the question, you still haven't answered. And I'm okay with that. We're going to move right along. Let me ask you a question. Have you seen any other Bud Crawford, pro Bud Crawford fan channels? Like, you know, the channels that talk about Bud in good ways and they praise Bud and everything. Have you ever seen those channels on YouTube?
Yes.
You have. You think that they are more influential than this channel here?
No.
Let me reframe the question. Do you think that those channels get more attention talking good about Bud than my channel, who they claim that I'm hating on Bud?
I mean, it's up to the perspective of a person, bro. I don't think so.
I'm talking about viewership.
No, I don't think so.
Right.
People want the truth.
So you're saying that people that are pro Bud channels, they don't produce the truth.
I mean, just like you got pro Bud channels, you got pro Spence channels. You know, you can't say that there's no pro Spence channels, because there are. You got some real channels like yourself and a few other people. They got some real channels out there. You know what I'm saying? They got some bogus ones. You got some, you know.
Yeah.
No, but real boxing fans. If you're a real boxing fan, like yourself and me, you see through the bullshit.
I agree with you. I would have to agree with you on that part. I would have to agree. So you are agreeing that Terence Crawford fans are coming to my channel, providing viewership, providing contribution, providing support, because they hear and they want the truth. You would agree with that, right?
I agree with that.
That's all I wanted to hear, because that's what we produce here, the truth. So now that I had a Bud fan, which is yourself, Oscar, thank you for being honest, that says that Bud Crawford fans want the truth and that's why they here, they can't equally come out and say, I'm a Bud hater, I'm making my channel off of Bud when it's all truth that I'm speaking. There's something
That's
wrong with
right.
that picture. You would agree with that, right, Oscar?
I agree with that.
Right. And so that's all it was. It's all about truth and honesty. And I think you've done a fair enough job, Oscar. Thank you for
I
joining the channel.
appreciate you.
I appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you, brother.
You got it. Hold up. Let me make sure because I see Kareem back there. And Mr. Greg is still back there. I didn't forget about Mr. Greg. Kareem, are you there? Kareem, you there? I guess Kareem is not here. Kareem? Kareem, are you there? I guess Kareem is not there. Hopefully he comes back onto the stream. Y'all just heard what the gentleman, dag, I just forgot his name that quick. What's the gentleman's name that just got on here, y'all? Him. I forgot his name because I was focusing on something else. Well, y'all just heard what he said. And so I try to ask questions, we don't need people keep deflecting the questions. Just answer honestly. That's all. We can move on to the next question. And I appreciate the brother that just came on that, he kept it 100. Appreciate it. You know what I mean? Hey, it is what it is. We got some super chats. I didn't forget about them. I just wanted to make sure I cleared that segment out. Ari Ryder, another day one supporter. Thanks, Ari. Haven't seen you in a while. I think you was here before on Tuesday. Good to see you again, as always. Ari says, Marty, Bud fans come straight out a comic book. Thank you for your support and your contribution, Ari. And he says this again in another contribution. Thank you, Ari. Says, listen, Marty, if you took the brain of a Crawford fan and put it in a Blue Jays body, that MFR would fly backwards. It's a D shame. Ari Ryder, I would probably have to agree with you. Thank you again for your support and your contribution to the channel. I mean, anybody else? Any more Bud fans? Any more? We had one. We know Mr. Greg is in the background. We're going to let him on because I have other questions to ask. Thank you, Ari Ryder was in the chat. He says, super chats, Marty. I got him. I want to ask Mr. Greg about the fight because I've already asked Mr. Greg some questions about Bud. We're going to talk about the fight. Anybody else? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Anybody else? Any Terence Crawford fans that want to come on? Okay. All right. Hold on, let me see. Kareem Ellis was still here. Kareem, you still there? Kareem Elliott, you still there, Kareem? He must have stepped away. My guy, Mr. Greg. What's up, Mr. Greg?
How you doing, Marty? Listen, let me say this before you start. I'm having a little issue. I'm having the same issue with my computer as I've had before. So I'm going to be looking out. If you notice, I look straight at you so I can hear you, because what I'm still hearing is what has already been said. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'll eventually will. So I may seem a little, behind when I answer you. So I just want to let you know.
No problem. I'm glad you're here as a Bud fan. I don't want to ask you any questions about Bud particularly because I know some of the answers that you provided to us before, so we won't belabor the point. But we're in the segment where we want to give what I like to call, our main event. And in the main event tonight, we're talking about the game plan of, Spence versus Crawford. And, we were here on Tuesday night, and some of the other people that jumped on the panel talked about a few things that they think that Crawford needs to do to win this fight. Now, since you are a Bud fan, and I think you believe that Crawford will win this fight,
Yes.
I want to ask you, what game plan do you think that Crawford has in order to beat Spence?
I think it'll be more cerebral than most people think. I think we're focusing in on their skill sets, the physical skill sets, but I think it'll be more cerebral. I kind of see the fight very similar to Leonard Hagler. Leonard was never going to out-muscle Hagler. The same way I don't think Crawford will out-muscle Spence because Spence is a bigger guy, he's a little bit strong, etc. But I've always thought Bud was smarter. Ray was smarter when he beat Hagler. He wasn't hurting Hagler. Now, Bud will hurt Spence a little bit more, but Ray wasn't going to ever hurt Hagler. But he outsmarted him. He outsmarted him in the negotiations. Because remember, Hagler gave up 3 rounds to get $3 million. So that's why the fight was only 12 rounds instead of 15, because Ray had been out of the ring. So he was smart enough to know what his own limitations were. He also, in training, realized he had to change how he was going to fight Hagler. Because at first he was going to go toe-to-toe with him. For some reason, it wasn't going that way. So he decided to, at the last 30 seconds of the fight, hit the tapping, throw flurries. Hagler didn't recognize he was being hit because he wasn't being hurt. But those flurries still add up points. And then Ray moved. He never engaged Hagler the way Hagler wanted him to. Well, Hagler caught up with him, but it was too late, basically. He just got outsmarted. I think in the fight with Spence and Crawford, there will be some engaging. It has to be. They both have a little bit of pressure because of all the foolishness that's taking place, regardless of who's at fault. They're now in the ring. That pressure to prove that I'm the better man will play a role there too. But I think Crawford will be smarter in handling the pressure of proving who's better. I think Spence wants to dominate. He wants to decimate, and he wants to be the man for 12 rounds, and he won't be that way. Once one of the two get hit hard, each one of them are going to want to get some get back. So you're going to see that's where those exchanges will take place. But I think even if Spence is able to hurt Crawford, he'll be smart enough to avoid getting hurt further. He may move on him. He may switch on him. He'll do a few things to recover if he's hurt. Spence, I think, in my opinion, is too determined to go straight down the pike, trying to knock him out. And I think he'll make a few mental errors that Crawford will capitalize on during the course of the fight. I don't really believe either one of them will get knocked out. I think they'll have some moments, but I think the fight will go down to a unanimous decision for Crawford because I think he'll dominate Spence being smarter in the last half of the fight. So that's how I think that fight will go.
So basically, you said in comparison to Leonard and Hagler, I would assume that you were referencing Crawford as Leonard and Hagler with the style that Spence has,
Yes.
right? And so do Terence Crawford have a better chance with counterpunching, which means that he's going to wait for Spence to throw first before he throws, like he has done in majority of the other fights. If you notice, every time Terence Crawford hurt an opponent before he finishes him, it was always from him countering them. He always landed a counter punch. Do you think that that's a game plan that Crawford should have, waiting for the counter punch, or should he initiate the attack on Spence first?
I think that should be part of it. I don't think that should be tactic in his fight, because he's going to have to go. I believe when he fights Spence, he's going to have to go into his toolbox and use everything, but he has to be smart with each tool that he uses. So I don't think just waiting on a counterpunch, that's going to win you the fight. That's not going to win you the fight. There's going to be some moments where he's going to have to engage and get the better of it most of the times that they actually engage. The counterpunching, yes, that should be good. That should be crisp. That should make Spence do what I think he's going to do, try to get some get back where he'll make some of the mental errors.
Okay. I think that's a fair assessment. Let me get this last super chat here. Oh, it was actually a super sticker by my girl Dahlia. What's up, Dahlia? I see you in the chat. Salute to you. Welcome, as always, Miss Dahlia. Trying to put it on the screen. Hold up. Oh, I did. Here we go. There we go. Salute. Thank you for your contribution and your support, Dahlia. Always a pleasure to see you on the channel. And I have to welcome all the women that's watching live and living color, those of you that are in the chat, and those of you that are not in the chat, those of you watching the replay of this live. I want to welcome and salute all of the ladies who contribute to not just this channel, but also in support of the great sport of boxing. We need your contributions in the sport of boxing, because you matter and you are still fans. And it's always great, Mr. Greg, to have women be a part of the sport of boxing. Clarissa Shields won her fight just last weekend, and she did an excellent job. She stuck to the game plan. And so we need women to support the boxing community so that more women can be inspired to compete if they feel led to do so, but also just fans. You know, it's always good to see women who are fans of the sport of boxing, who know about the sport. And so for those women that come to contribute or even just view this channel, I find it not robbery, and I always go out of my way to make sure I salute and welcome them as well. So thank you again, Dahlia. So, Mr. Greg, when we talk about the game plan of Crawford, I know that you are a Crawford fan and you believe that Crawford's going to win. But just knowing the sport of boxing with your experience, how can Spence game plan to neutralize the things that Crawford is so skilled at doing to beat Crawford, in your assessment?
I think Spence has to throw a lot more punches. I think he has to be willing the entire fight, in my opinion, to go into the lion's den. He's going to have to face some fire, or he got to be willing to face fire the entire fight, not just go to the body, jab. He's going to have to make it a fight the entire 12 rounds. And I believe it'll go 12 rounds. He can beat. I'm not going to say he couldn't beat Crawford. He could, but does he have enough in him? Is he willing to be in the fire the entire time? Is he willing to? Is he conditioned enough to do that? And I've always questioned whether there's some damage to him. I've always said that before, so I don't need to rehash that part. But I do believe that he needs to come in, as he said, he's going to be step all night. You're going to get some, you're going to give some. Whether or not you give more than you get will be the determination. You the bigger man, you the stronger man, prove it all night. Otherwise, you're going to get outsmarted. You're going to get hit when you don't want to get hit. You're going to miss when you shouldn't even be missing in the first place, but you're going to do that because you're trying to get back. So for Spence, and again, he's already said that what he was going to do. So I believe that's how he will have to win. He said it, show it.
I'm muted. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. And listen, I want to say this too. I know you at the ladies who come on, big ups to you for giving them the props that you do. As I told you before, I have been on or gone on and visit other sites before. And, I haven't been on the show other than once, Manager Malachi. I did talk once on there. That's the only, just to answer one question that you asked the other guy, that's the only podcast that appears to be a pro Bud podcast. I haven't been on the rest of them enough to say that, but he appears to be that. That's the only one. And by the way, Ennis would not have been able to fight Boots because I'm sorry, without been able to fight Bud because he signed to Showtime and they wasn't gonna let him go on BLK Prime. So that's the blockage right there. I would have loved to see them fight. I think he deserves to fight them, but they're not gonna let him just go like that, especially during the BLK time.
So with that being said, Mr. Greg, so do you basically agree that BLK Prime was basically, it just wasn't a good look for them to even try to pursue that or make Bosley and them think they was trying to pursue that fight by trying to lure Boots over to their platform instead?
I think BLK Prime was really an anomaly. It was an easy fight when Bud, they threw some money at him. It was easy to take. Most fighters would have done the same thing. But they were trying to grow, I think. They just weren't prepared with the infrastructure, in my opinion, and with having enough money and more importantly, the credibility. They basically were an app. I know they are in other things. They're basically were an app. And if you fight on Showtime and you're signed with Showtime, unless they give you $25 million to come on that app and it's guaranteed and you can get it, I wouldn't have gone on there. If I was Ennis, I'm already getting paid what I'm going to get paid for the moment. So I'm not going to jeopardize. I'm already with a strong entity. One of the few entities left that more people can watch, which is Showtime. The Paramount stuff can still happen, but we don't have to discuss that either right now. But I wouldn't have gone over to BLK Prime, and they wasn't going to let him go in the first place. And yes, it was not a great look for anybody. It was a great piece of money. Bud said he got 10. I don't know. I don't care. That's what he said. I have to accept it. Unless somebody show me something more who's official over there, I'll have to assume he got the 10. If he lied on himself. I'm not going to get any of the money either way.
I got you. Great assessment. Let me get this super chat before I let you go, Mr. Greg.
Okay.
Mr. Pragmatic, my guy. I don't have to tell you how I feel about this guy. He's a day one supporter. What can I say? He's holding the chat down as we speak right now. My guy, Mr. Pragmatic, thank you for your contribution and your support. As always, Mr. Prag says, people are acting like Bud is still 32. He's 36 and showed his age in his last fight against Ebenezer. Spence is 32 and is going to hurt Bud for 12 rounds. Mr. Greg, before you go, you are a Bud fan. You're reading the words on your screen. You're smiling and you're laughing. Give your take on what you just heard my guy, Mr. Pragmatic, say.
Well, he just repeated what I said. I said in order for Spence to win, he has to hurt Bud for all 12 rounds. That's the only way I see Spence winning. So, Mr. Pragmatic, we've been on the comments. You're agreeing with me. That's the only way your man can win. Oh, and for the gentleman who said we're out of the comic books, I'm glad I'm older than him. If he goes back and look at comic books, all of the great technology, all of the great things that we use, including this, have come from comic books first before they were invented. So keep that in mind when next time you say we're out of the comic books, because that means we're ahead of you.
Wow. What a great comeback. I mean, this what this show is all about. Education and entertainment. I don't particularly think that Mr. Pragmatic was basically trying to agree with you because of the age disparity in Bud. You know, in other words, is Bud, I guess what Mr. Prag is saying is that the assessment of people saying that Bud Crawford is going to do A, B, and C is as if Bud is still at this particular age, and he's
Oh, I
actually
know he wasn't
not.
agreeing with me
Oh,
purposely. He wasn't purposely agreeing.
oh, I see. I
I
get it.
know that.
I get it. I get it. Good stuff, Mr. Greg. Last 30 seconds. Give us your last words, my brother.
I hope everyone sees this fight. I hope they do more promotion, cross promotion. I love to see Uber and Lyft choose one of the two fighters and do commercials. I love to see Pepsi and Coke do the same thing to get to the casuals. That's what kind of promotion I'm looking for. I remember what Hagler and Hearns did with Pizza Hut. You remember the commercial when Hagler was eating the pizza? He said, "I wonder what the opponent was eating." Said probably soup. Remember that? So I like to see a lot of that because that's what's going to bring in the casuals in greater numbers, particularly if you use Uber, Lyft, Pepsi, Coke, those product managers and those marketing people. And that's what I was looking for, a lot of that, because this should be a huge event where everybody who even don't watch boxing are at least made aware of it. So I hope we see that. I hope when we get back on this channel after the fight, I know we're going to be talking the next 6 months, and I enjoy it. And once again, thank you for letting me always come on, talk, say what I got to say. Thank you for your feedback. I'm sorry that more Bud fans don't come on, but I've come to find out most people are afraid to be on camera. You know, it's easy to talk and make mistakes without being seen, but you have to be strong inside for anything to come forward where you know you're going to have mostly opposition to your position and still stand on your square and let them know I'm here too and here's where I'm going. Most people don't have that yet. A lot of the people I see in the comments, you know, they talking and you're wondering what are they talking about? Why are they doing this? But you ask them to come on. You hear them, you see them, they said things to you. So I'm disappointed to some degree that more don't come on and just at least express themselves honestly, as opposed to just keep talking. And you asking them, you giving them your time. I know it takes, you know, you giving it to them. So every time you invite me on, or every time you put up that link, if I'm here, I'm gonna go on. So thank you for that, and I appreciate you.
You're so welcome, and I
And all
appreciate
you
you.
fans, I'm gonna be in the comments. Hello to you, because I like a lot of you all too.
Absolutely. Mr. Greg, thank you so much for your support and just coming on the channel, man, you know, and giving your feedback. We respect you here, and we don't have to agree on everything, but we agree on one thing. We both love the sport of boxing. And so I'm glad to have you. Look forward to seeing you more in the chat, because I know you're about to jump right back in the chat. I already know what you're about to do, Mr. Greg. So I'm going to let you go and do those things, and I salute you, Mr. Greg.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, my guy. That was my guy, Mr. Greg. Uh, you know, the thing about it is that we got to understand that this is going to be a great fight. And the game plan, see, it's all about the game plan and the strategy. In previous content, I spoke on the trainers. You know, I spoke on both trainers, Bomac and Derek James. And so we got to see the game plan that Bomac's going to give to Crawford. I think Crawford has two other trainers beside Bomac, from what people are telling me. So he has a total of three trainers, and I'm sure all of them are going to contribute to the strategy and game planning for Crawford to beat Spence. And of course, Spence has Derek James in his corner. And so, you know, I have a game plan, and I want to make sure that I render that game plan before we go tonight. And that is the game plan of Errol Spence. As you all know, I am not an in-ring performance expert, but I've judged enough fights, and I know when I'm watching boxing, I know what I'm looking at. And so I'm going to render my game plan that I think that Spence and his team should have to beat Crawford. And then when you come back on Tuesday night in our next broadcast, live and live in color, right here, I'm going to render my perspective on the game plan that Crawford should have to beat Spence. But let's get to Spence. The game plan that Spence should have is to attack the body of Terence Bud Crawford. We know that Terence Bud Crawford does pretty well on the outside. Terence Bud Crawford does a lot of moving. He uses a lot of lateral movement on the balls of his feet, right? And we also know that Terence Bud Crawford likes to counterpunch. We know this. So what Spence needs to do to prevent the lateral movement, to prevent Crawford from trying to make this fight an outside fight, is attack his body to slow him down. What is the purpose of slowing him down? So that this fight can be on the inside. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen too many fights where Crawford dominate on the inside. I'm not going to say he has no inside game. I am going to say he has limited inside game. Because every time I've seen Bud in close quarters on the inside, and these fights, he gets hit. I seen him on the inside with David Evanesian. He was getting hit. Mean Machine. He was getting hit. Kell Brook got on the inside. Was very effective in the first few rounds. Bud was getting hit, right? So Spence got to slow him down. He has to increase his body attack on Crawford. Most of Crawford's opposition don't usually go to the body against Crawford, right? So Spence's game plan should be attack the body. Show Crawford that he is the bigger, stronger man. We know that Terence Crawford has experience. He's a champion when it comes to wrestling. So he has no problem getting physical. So what Spence got to do is once he gets on the inside and attack that body, make sure Crawford don't be trying to wrestle and hold. You know, the holding that Crawford was doing, in my opinion, a little bit too excessively when he fought in his fight against Sean Porter. So Spence has to attack Crawford's body more than he did other fighters. When he's on the inside, Spence I'm talking about, when he does get on the inside, there is one punch that I like that Spence throws and lands, and he did it a lot in his fights when he was on the inside with Lamont Peterson and particularly with Ugas, and that's that uppercut. I know people don't give Spence a lot of credit for that being one of his tools in his arsenal, but that uppercut, when he's on the inside, he has to land the uppercut. Body, yes. Jab to get in the inside, yes. But that uppercut, once he gets on the inside, that uppercut that he uses, and I'm talking about the left hand, the power hand, will be very, very effective. Also, Spence is going to have to continue to win the foot battle to cut the ring off. We don't know what stance Bud is going to come in, but what we do know is that Bud usually don't stay in the orthodox stance for the entire duration of a fight. We know this. So with that being said, when he is in those orthodox stances, Spence is going to have to win the foot battle by keeping his right foot on the outside of Terence Bud Crawford's lead foot, which will be the left foot. We've seen Tank Davis win the foot battle for the entire 7 rounds when he fought Ryan Garcia. Okay? And Spence is going to have to do that every time this whole quote-unquote switch hitting happens that Crawford does. He's got to win the foot battle. And that's how he's going to do 2 things. He's going to defend himself by being out of the range of the counter punches of Crawford. And guess what's going to happen? He's going to be in range, and the head of Crawford will be in sight for the straight left hand. And so these are the strategies I think Spence should utilize to win this fight against Crawford. That's what I say. What do you say in the chat before we go? I would love to see your feedback right now. If you're watching the replay of this live, please feel free to comment in the comment section below and give us your take. It doesn't matter if you are a fan of Crawford. It doesn't matter if you are a fan of Spence. It doesn't matter who you think is going to win. You can participate because I'm making it all inclusive now. What game plan should Spence put together to beat Terence Bud Crawford? And that's basically what we want to know now. And then, like I said before, when you come on back on Tuesday night, because we'll be back right here, live in living color, right here on Tuesday evening, and I'm going to give a game plan for Terence Bud Crawford. I think you all know exactly who I think is going to win this fight. But I'm doing something different. I am trying to make it what? All inclusive. Because you know why? When it's all said and done, if this fight happens on July the 29th, Spence fans, Bud fans, and everybody else who think that one person is going to win, regardless of who it is, we all got to come right back on this channel. And we have to see each other. And that's a fact. So it sounds like the chat is a little bit preoccupied on something. I'm trying to talk, engage, and then read at the same time. I don't know what's going on in the chat. But the chat was popping tonight. Let me do that before we go off air. The chat was on point tonight. Salute. And I thank everyone who participated in the chat. You all are a part of the Roll the Tape Film Crew membership. That's why you do a phenomenal job in the chat. If you are a subscriber to this channel, if you are a supporter of this channel, you equally are a part of the Roll the Tape Film Crew membership. And let me say this before we go. Thank you, Mr. Pratt. Tune in. I'm working on it as we speak right now. Since I talked about, members of the film crew, right? Roll the Tape Film Crew membership. I'm working on merchandising. Okay? I've already been eligible for the last few months. I'm still working on being educated on that process. We're closing in on certain things so that we can provide merchandise. Yeah, for the ladies, merchandise for you men. We got it all worked out. I'm still working on some other preliminary things with certain other pieces of merchandise. But when we put it all together, you all will be the first to know. And we're trying to get it done. So look out for that. I'm going to keep teasing you all with the information momentarily as the time progresses, so that we all can be on the same page. And we're going to have some merchandise popping. And I know that you all are going to support, and I look forward to it. And let me see. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I don't think I am. Don't forget on Tuesday night now, you might know somebody that knows somebody who is a Terence Bud Crawford fan. Let them know that they have a voice. They have a voice, and we want to hear their voice. Because we need answers. Right here, live in living color on Tuesday night. We're going to have a segment still designated for Terence Bud Crawford fans. Okay, you know we're going to roll the tape as always. So tune in live in living color right here on Tuesday night on the Roll the Tape podcast with Manager Marty. I'm Manager Marty. 2.5 hours to the T. I did pretty good tonight. And I want to say thank you for all of your support, all of those that contributed to the channel. Thank you again. Everybody that was engaging in the chat, y'all helped this show go smoothly and y'all made it pop. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support. I look forward to seeing each and every last one of you on Tuesday night. And don't forget, the spiritual principle of the weekend is life is a privilege. So count your blessings. I'm Manager Marty. Till next time.